Okay, we got YouTube a go-go. YouTube is a go. And cue crazy. Cue the crazy. I'm going to do my Instagram as well because it's the easiest way to archive all this work that I'm doing eventually when I have it presentable and give it to an editor. Whenever it's published, if I have an editor, it'll be published. So once it's published, people can go back and see me processing how I actually did it. And this whole book is about, and why this chapter I want to call the hypothesis is, and why I started writing this book in the first place, and what we can sum it up to is I always said to myself, what happens if you try? So I'm going to put my Instagram on if I don't want to repeat myself too much. But like I said, it's something to be archived. And I'm done being a perfectionist because I'm hungry and my goal is 30 minutes on the clock. And my buddy contractor is calling me because my stuff is flooded. I knew as soon as I started, he would call. I knew as soon as he started. I know he's not going to come over here in the dark. I should just. He's gonna see. I got 30 minutes on the clock. I ain't deviating. I want to go to dinner. Maybe he'll see me on Instagram trying to take care of my disciplines. And I know I have a measurable goal now that if I edit my book twice a week, I should be able to get close to finishing this year. With some extra, what I call the tools of integrity or the tool belt of integrity. My original title of the book was going to be The Application of Integrity. Hola, everybody. I love everyone. And so now I call it Looking for Signs over the last 3 years. And I haven't gone over this book. And since I started it 3 years ago and took off to Detroit to tell my story and protest like a mad woman in the middle of Detroit. So when I do these kind of things, it's not because I want to do them. I do them because I think the gods tell me to. I think it's because it will eventually, this is me trying, and it will come back tenfold. There will be a result from trying. And I think the best way to try, like I said, in my head, is to process the application of integrity, trying to write the book and publish the book in front of everyone the best way that I can. So, and my goal is, like I said, 30 minutes a day of reading and writing my book every day. So I got 2 days a week. I got to write my book, edit my book. And there's about 126 pages here. And then I have my written notes, like I said. So I know if I do that 2 days a week, hola, then I should be. I wish I could read everybody's names because I love really good names. And I actually call myself Frostydetroit because I had an ex say that I never would leave Detroit. And Detroit, I'm like, well, I guess you didn't get it. I guess you didn't get it because Detroit hosts my adversary, General Motors. That's what I'm here to do, is tell my story in Detroit. And I think if there was any avoidance in any of my exes that didn't like me coming up here to be strong and keep telling the story over and over again, what happened to us and our Buick exploding and why you see Frosty in these burns. And if you don't know, my last name is Frost First General Motors. And that's why I call myself Frostydetroit. My whole life, my family, friends, softball, baseball, all the basketball. I've lettered in 5 sports in high school. I was always Frosty. So that's why it's Frostydetroit. It's not some like weird made up thing. I was actually really proud of it. And that was my dancer's name, or after I was the Mad Medicine Woman coming up to Detroit to tell my story and buy these big Vista print posters. And at that time, I would say I was the poorest person I knew. And I had told my mother I had to be a crazy woman for an hour and dress up as a Renaissance woman in the anniversary of 4th of July back in 2021, right before I met Detroit Dance Loft, got my lease here, started taking classes, and 2 years later started teaching. Now going back to the studios to be a better social dancer, and um, not just with my students, and what I'm limited on teaching. So at Arthur Murray Studio. So, but here we go. Now I'm on chapter 3 in my book. I call The Hypothesis: What Happens If You Try. That was the original intent of this book. Hola, I'm gonna read something. So I don't know how to do that. Okay, so I gotta know my peoples. What happens if you try? I know what it's like, and now I know everybody's gone through their trauma, and that was the point, that if I could do it, anybody could do it. If I could, after skin grafts and being skinned alive, my children and all, I don't even know how to describe correctly why I'm here and they're not. But all the things that you cannot control. What happens if you keep trying? Well, I've changed my life completely. I've told off male practice lawyers. General Motors got away with murder of the most precious. I don't even know how to describe without being so horrific in the way that I wish I could vent and describe. I'm trying to be somewhat a professional crazy person, traumatized, PTSD, all of it. Um, and which is an excess of cortisol, all those things, the fight or flight, which makes it hard for me to stand still or and be touched in group class, big workshops and stuff like that. When you, not everybody is so has the right intent all the time, but issues, right? So things have gone wrong. A lot of things have gone wrong in our life, and what happens if you try? So here, if you want to check out the other episodes, you can find them on my YouTube, and you can find them on um, throughout my reels and Instagram, which is cool because it archives the whole thing at one time when you do it live like this. Or I would not be doing this. I would not be doing this. Something in my heart tells me I'm supposed to do this, and that's why I'm doing it. It's not because I want to. I just want to take myself to dinner. But we have at least 30 minutes. I don't think I've been doing a good job when we haven't really been started. So 30 minutes technically. It's going to be 7:45, and then I can take myself to dinner. So, what happens if you try? I know what it's like to have the existential world thrown at you. It says this existential world. We're going to give this to an editor, but as long as it makes sense, I want everything to make sense. I have this existential world. And I know I explain existentialism somewhere in here. Existential, I know I have to because I tell everybody existentialism, when you have an existential crisis, existentialism comes from the belief or the philosophy that existence precedes essence, that there is no reason for why we're here. You just show up, the big bang, boom, we're here. And now we have to create meaning and reason for why we're here. The opposite of that in my Cherokee teachings, and what I don't think they get right in this, why we evolved to love out of just survival because we're social creatures. I don't think that's it at all, because my Cherokee teachings would say that essence precedes existence, that nothing would exist if there was no reason for it. Love being the same, which we say is the highest frequency, right? And for all the things, we say that if the mountains weren't healthy And I had a Cherokee elder in college, is why I say that. And my dad's real mother had some Cherokee in her as well. People think I'm crazy when I say that. I'm not saying I have a whole lot of Cherokee in me. I'm just anyway. So I studied Cherokee language in college at Western Carolina University, and they said that chohi, the word chohi, which I was doing a documentary back then, which now I have to put inside this book. Chohim, the message that I learned in the storytellers that is so important to the storytellers is Chohi in Cherokee is a word that means something perpetual. The OE, the vowels at the end, means something that keeps going. If something is always that way, it means that it's true then. And so they say you can be a dancer and we dance, or you can say, I always dance. And there's a profoundness to even the imperfection state of being. We say, like, if you're a janitor, I clean, or I always clean. And my Cherokee elder told me that specifically. He knew I cleaned and I danced. I clean and I dance. That's what I do. I clean everything. Our studio is the cleanest studio. I clean and I dance. That's what I do. Virgo, Leo rising. And he saw that in me. You can see the zodiac, and I have books on it, the astrological body types. And he saw that, and you can see people's moon signs, and you can see this in them. And it's the coolest thing. And that's why I call this book Looking for Signs. But if the mountains weren't healthy, and the trees weren't healthy, and the water wasn't healthy, and the plants weren't healthy, then we wouldn't be healthy. And everything runs downstream, and everything's meant to flow in this way. It's meant to be peaceful. It's meant to be well. It's meant to be healthy. It's meant to steward everything around us. So everything that we say is meant to steward. Everything that we do is meant to steward everything around us. And I know I try to, when you hold yourself to a level and a standard, even the people that don't want to hold that level and standard, they are going to look up and think, they're going to be some copycat. They're going to be some, people trying to step it up. And it's contagious to have, and to think of things of being well and stuff too, and be a role model. I'm saying for things around you, that it's meant to be well, it's meant to be peaceful, it's meant to uplift each other. And some people think not. No, we just all you eat, you shit, you die, and that's it. And people don't need to be on the planet at all. But I know through this process of trying the last 3 years that there's something looking out for us. I get it in dreams. I have I have everything I've asked for outside of this horrific accident, because I didn't play a victim. And that's why I came to Detroit and I said, get mad, don't be a victim. I wanted to completely redo what General Motors meant. I knew I couldn't take them down. I knew there was no boycotting, but I wanted to make a name in Detroit that said, get mad, don't be a victim of the systems. And my whole family worked and retired from General Motors, and up the line, grandfathers and uncles and things. It would be easy to blame all these factors, that my life is just a shit dealt hand and shit just happens. But would my life be worth it? Would it be worth living? I would rather be crazy and speak the truth I have been learning the past 7 years before this accident. And it says slash alignment, because I never believed in accidents as a coincidences. Coincidence is a mathematical term that means something to or two lines that coincide and meet at a perfect point. These perpendicular lines is to coincide in mathematics. So I never believed in coincidence, according to Wayne Dyer. Thank you, Wayne Dyer. So this morning, as of most of us do, my mind gets to turning. But when my mind turns, there's so much pain associated with my thoughts. Now I'd say it's kind of the opposite, where my trauma, it comes from feelings, and the thoughts are kind of coming afterward. And that's why I reverse engineer my trauma and my PTSD, which is very real, depression, all that I fight every day through reverse engineering my mind and habits, keeping my diet, my protein and my yogurt, my vitamins or whatever that I take, probiotics and things that reverse engineer my body so that I'm moving. I have a routine, it keeps me moving. So this morning, as most of us do, mind is turning associated with my thoughts. So much pain associated with my thoughts that I have to ignore, or else I couldn't function. It says, or else couldn't function. I'm gonna put, or else I couldn't function. I would say this is the effect of PTSD as well, knowing there is nothing but confusion left to question. Nothing but confusion left to question. Left to question. Let's put a comma there and we'll see what the editor has to say about that. I see my children immediately through looking at pictures are hard, especially pictures you've never seen before. How unfair. I should be able to see different pictures of my kids every moment, but everything in the past. From everything in the past, I just think I should put from, but everything is in the past and I freak out. I really do. Just thinking about it. Fucking A. So yeah, that's not fair. This totally sucks. So I see my kids, I see my banners that I made next to me saying, "Oh, our children's lives matter." Whoa, this is back in 2021 with all this political stuff going on. Dude, I'm a badass motherfucker. Like, I did not stop. Like, my kids didn't go to Golden Casket. You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody knew we freaking blew up on the side of the highway. Except everyone on the TV markets and things from California to Virginia that I knew from college. I was so blessed, and our story was everywhere on the news networks anyway. In some way, in a very short way, but I got out there a couple times. So, looking at my posters saying "Our children's lives matter," Judge Leslie Kim Smith lets GM get away with murder. Faulty Buicks catch fire to families across the U.S. And I have videos of those posters. I think I threw those posters away, maybe. I highly doubt it. But I wanted to, in my heart, put that Mad Medicine Woman behind me and embrace now, since I bought my new house, my new Frostydetroit, which I had that name before I bought this house. Where it is, just outside Detroit. So I've had visions of me walking down the streets of Detroit and speaking at the courthouse where Apollo sits, the spirit of Detroit. So I'm looking at this banner. It would be perfect. It would be the perfect time to walk around with it. The Black Lives Matter groups are out there. I don't mind informing them how we've been misaddressed in municipal admiralty law court by our registered all capital lettered incorporated name to commerce instead of trade, with our saved Christian name in upper and lowercase. But then who would believe me is my first thought. And then it must be done. Oh my gosh. Sovereignty, even on paper, according to what I had seen in courts, nothing but fraud, nothing but malpractice, nothing but dismissal, um, throwing the wrongful death out of my children, saying I wasn't allowed to speak about being on fire more than 2 seconds, that if I mentioned my children, it would be a mistrial. The pure evil, and I told them all off. I was so proud of myself. And then I got new good guy lawyers, and they're helping me go after malpractice and stuff. But so we'll see. At this time, I was like, it's all corrupt. It's Admiralty Maritime Law, and that's my documentary on YouTube. The Rapture begins in Detroit, so you can check it out for yourself and see if I'm crazy and what the truth is. I want to know too. So I want to know. And so malpractice, we're going forward in trial, and we're going to kick butt and see if it's real. Because everything I have is not from General Motors. Don't get it twisted. Don't don't mess that up. General Motors is my adversary, makes me who I am. It's about my third or fourth thought in there. I'm a mad woman for a great reason. I'm crazy. I can do whatever I want. So maybe by writing this down too, it will hold me accountable and I'll do it. Which eventually, like I said, on 4th of July, 2021, I ended up doing that. This time, I was up here in Detroit. I was trimming for money after COVID, shut everything down. I was working with the Carolina Panthers and guest relations, scanning everybody in the press box, trying to get my foot in the door with the Carolina Panthers after getting my degree at Western Carolina University. And I'd go up tiers of interviews with my children and get denied at the top interview when they'd ask me about my children. Not allowed to do that, but they trick you and they do it and they find out you got children, you're not married, and like that's awful and it sucks. And they're like, okay, never mind. Doesn't matter how talented and gifted and whatever you are, because you obviously are going through some stuff, which I was. They weren't they weren't wrong. I was going through so much at that time. The Palestinians are also rioting in Detroit when which I'm here working with Arabic women learning Arabic who brought their babies through war-torn territories. Did I mention I'm trimming weed for money? Oh, there it is. Well, it's legal here, and it's more money than I've ever made with a bachelor's degree. For what reason would any government governing the mental deprive their citizens of these opportunities? I had a friend just pass from what I believe was the COVID vaccine. His family would never believe me, but right where they prick your pituitary gland, he exploded in the middle of his sleep. He was a Vietnam hippie vet, had some weed and money, not trusting Wells Fargo, the only bank in town that already scammed him once. The detective seized all his weed plants and money. I love you so much, Dennis. Damn you, we were supposed to go to Spain for my birthday, and he knows I'm pissed. He made it to the other side. Oh, I'm pissed he made it to the other side. Yeah. There's a difference between legal and lawful. Um, I don't have between here, so we gotta help that for our editor. There's a difference between legal and lawful. Granted, I'm pretty well read down the rabbit hole of philosophy, history, culture, culture, language, religion. My attorney wants to speak today about our cases against General Motors and Evenflow car seats. I don't know how to tell her I found the documents to submit to my state assembly and have on record, living birth record, that my children are living, not a dead piece of paper. This is the Maritime Admiralty law, and I'm here to expose it like many before me. I still believe in this stuff. I had to take a step back. I still believe in this. I still believe in this, and I'm fighting to see if these court things are true, to prove me wrong, that I was just crazy this whole time and justice is real, but we're going to find out. I was just thinking I will have to post my book or release it on Judgment Day as we enter the scales of Libra. You got it. Okay, girl, you got it. I will do what my previous self said. Your future self will do it. My ex Justin died on Judgment Day, the scales of justice. I don't mess around with my signs, the heavens. Those of you reading this book, I hope, are an accurate audience for such a mad woman's writings. Everyone wants me to turn it off. Astrology? My sister thinks I'm leading people away from Christ on my social media. I am a scholar of philosophy who's been initiated into mysticism. Great. Believe it or not, I'm just the messenger particle photon, as the theory goes, which I have yet to discover as false or irrelevant. This is the rabbit hole. Only my teachers are further down. I found an amazing, just spectacular new teacher, new to me. I'm so glad this is a stream of consciousness dialogue. I really wouldn't know any other way to elaborate this process of applying integrity in my life. Again, that was my original um, title, The Application of Integrity, because I wanted to know what happened if you tried. So, Stan Tenen, an incredible teacher, I was listening to his lectures on YouTube about the Hebrew letters and their meanings and capabilities in sound and meditation. He explains how the origin of the word integrity has a meaning that the inside matches the outside. Integrity. Oh, yes, I can dig that. I can so dig that. Speaking your truth is the hardest thing to do. And he goes on to explain how speaking and the combination of breath is the ultimate manifesting tool. Breath that comes from speaking. How beautiful is that? What? Well, I feel better. Oh, Christina, thank you for reminding me. Frosty Detroit. So it must be as heroes go, or heroes before, come back to speak in the communicative aspect that makes change, but also the backbone required, the experience and knowledge and know how and how not that makes you stand tall. Oh, I have that. I have a strong spine, but my insides to match my outsides in this book is going to have to include this, which I'm gonna put astrology because I'm thinking that's probably what I'm referring to. This astrology. Maybe I'll put it in like parentheses or squiggly italics. I like italics. It is only applying what I know, as I have done and will continue to do. I certainly didn't know I would find that we have been misaddressed in court, nor could I have ever predicted or prepared myself for my life changing forever. It's more than changed people. It's more than changed, comma, people. And then it says, I want to die. I don't want to live anymore. I want to be with my children. I don't want to think I can bring them back one day and be pregnant and hope upon a star. A healthy, handsome philosopher, salsa dancing baseball player will sweep me off my feet and I will have the life I want. That's hard to believe. Why would I stay here in this life if I couldn't bring my children back? In all honesty, I had a hard time as a young mom with a once was an older with a one when let's see. I know I'm trying to say who was once let's say whom was once with an older man. Go figure. Well, and they say, ladies, we date up for a reason, but it's about status and income and things like security and protection. Whom was once an older, handsome man who was a habitual drinker, among other things, I'm sure, that with eyes open as I'm older, wish I walked away from sooner. Get healthy, suck it up, give a shit, get healthy. I don't think he would make it this far into the book, to be honest. But I love the guy. He's my children's father, but he is and always was a narcissist. And the worst part is they don't realize their consequences include health, where you live, who your friends are. Enough, I don't do sympathy. I woke up with that thought this morning. Empathy, sure. Sympathy, you're probably not going to get it from me. You'll probably activate this response. Oh, yeah? So what's your problem, bud? Sounds like you need to grow up. Oh, so you're a narcissist. So which way is the exit? I will usually keep my mouth shut, though. That's where my insides don't match my outsides. But I will educate you on buildup stress hormones and the dangerous effects on antidepressants. I like who I am, though. Now, I never took antidepressants, so I'm curious why I mentioned that way. I don't think I should mention it that way. I'm so proud of myself. I have less than 10 minutes yet to hit my goal. I'm so proud of me, proud of me. So, Okay, well, I'm gonna leave it at that for now. Um, Antidepressants. I did take, they had me on this low blood pressure medication, which I thought they were trying to kill me because I had low blood pressure already and I would hardly be able to like sit up. I couldn't even move because I would be so lightheaded. I felt like your heart was gonna stop beating. It was like my heart was too slow to pump to like get up. Like dangerous, dude. What the hell? I swear they were trying to kill me. I kind of want to put that in the book though. I've never taken antidepressants. I'm gonna say outside of the hospital. Depressants outside of my 2 month hospital stay, but they did have me they had me on gabapentin. I was on, an oxycodone for about maybe 6 weeks after I got out of the hospital after, like, 56 days in the hospital, and they couldn't believe I was healing and working the way I was then. I did a lot of yoga beforehand that my doctor said was, really helpful. You can see the video on my reel of my burns and things, and that's, I doesn't there's it's hard to show those pictures, and a lot of social media doesn't let me show those pictures, but I'm sure it explains in the book all the all the different incidences that had happened, possibly in the hospital, and but like I said, I don't do sympathy. This book is about what happens if you try. I wanted to keep it I always say I wanted to keep it dry, but I think my ex didn't like it very much. My friends said it was meant to be written, but my ex was like, "That's for you." How heartbreaking. Like, do you not like, I guess you just didn't get it. I'm so fucking over that. Like, attached, like, I'm really getting less and less attached the more work I do on myself, you know? And I'm always working on myself, and that's why I didn't understand the luminance that I've had over my ex over, like that was, like, 18 months ago. So, but, and we haven't talked at all since, so it's like, yeah, I'm not attached at all. I wonder if he's in the book. So remember this was started 3 years ago. 2 months hospital stay, but they dude, this is like yeah, man, I went through hell, bro. You think I'm not gonna tell people about it? Jeez, like, what kinda asshole? Like, "Bro, deal with your shit, man. Don't fucking tell me not to deal with mine and the way I deal with it, because 'cause I'm successful as hell, motherfucker. I'm freaking like, jeez, okay. Don't wanna be a part of my life. Okay, I'm gonna go on and be successful." And, when I when I see my exes gain weight and stuff, to me, that is regret. 'Cause I fit. I work out, so I'm sorry, I'm being mean. Love, bless them all, but they did have me on a low blood pressure medication. Thought they were trying to kill me. Trying to kill me. I have wicked low blood pressure. Why I always needed a tube in my mouth or tube in my throat from the hospital when they put you under and put you to sleep. And ha 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 ha, I don't like a typos. 2 months hyphen month. Okay. I like who I am though. I couldn't be this person without, well, yes, I would have been down this philosophical rabbit hole. I would have learned what I have without this accident with GM Fire losing my buildings, babies. Now, I wonder though, now if Admiralty Maritime Law is real, I don't know if I would have got that far down the rabbit hole in the 4th of July and the things that um, you can see on my TikToks on the top pin there, what I learned. Um, so wouldn't I have learned? Let's see. I'm gonna rewrite this. Wouldn't I have learned these things? Wouldn't I have learned about admiralty law or whatever? And I don't mean whatever. I mean admiralty. Back then, when I was studying this stuff, I called it admiralty maritime law, which seems to me to be true. Like I said, I have yet to prove I've yet to be proven wrong about any of those things that I studied in my documentary, The Rapture Begins in Detroit on YouTube. I have yet to be proven wrong about it. Wouldn't I have learned about admiralty law? And I don't know if I've taken dance lessons here yet. I haven't even taken dance lessons at this point. So I can't even say, wouldn't I have taken dance? Wouldn't I? Because I got my Zumba license. I sought out dancing at Coyote Joe's. A friend from Mexico I met there said to get my Zumba license. I applied for Arthur Murray. COVID shut it down, shut the Carolina Panthers down. I took off to Detroit, trimming, came down North Carolina, driving pizzas, go back to Detroit. And I was living this crazy life for about a year before I moved in 2021 October, when Detroit Dance Loft opened, and started taking lessons there in November. So why else could this have happened? As a conscious, spiritual, and mystical being, I always hate those subjective, fluffy words. I have to ask myself, I'm going to put in parentheses that too, because it's so true. I hate subjective, general, fluffy words. Uh, I don't want to say without objective meaning, whatever. I have to ask myself, we all do, are we all should, and we all should be transcending this spiritual talk to understand there is a great science behind all holy scriptures. Here we go. Here we go. What time we got? We're right at 7:45. I think this is going to get down the rabbit hole. As a conscious, spiritual, mystical being, here we go. This would be a great book for the debate on Christianity and their literate interpretations. And okay, so maybe we'll call this chapter. I think this should be a new chapter because we're changing subjects a little bit. Why else could this have happened? Um, the book is called Looking for Signs. I don't want to call this chapter Looking for Signs. I want to call it something else, but I guess it's not. I mean, it's not awful to, if this is where the astrology is starting to be, um, or seeing signs, noticing signs. No, um, symbolism. Let's do symbolism. Um, reality and symbolism, maybe? Reality and symbolism? Because that's what life, mind, subjective mind, objective reality, that's what all the scriptures so far that I've been learning in my studies, or what they're trying to interpret. And that they do have cycles and that everything has patterns. And I do strongly believe in those patterns and those windows of time and opportunity because I've proven it. I've proven it. I've proven it. I know when to act and when not to act, even though I feel like I went to Orlando and made a fool out of myself because it totally humbled me where my dancing goes. Not because I'm not a great dancer, but technically, I don't like sitting in. I have a hard time. I need to do more private lessons, I think. But I like to move. I like the pace of learning to be pretty quick, I think, for my mind. But So I have a lot to learn. I'm really, really excited. But it put me on track. Like, I had to go try. I had to go try and fail at Jack and Jill. I had to, like, go test it out, and I'm so excited that I did because now I'm like, now you see what you have to work on to get to your next level, and it was super humbling. What a humbling experience. Again, last year I went down there, and, this year everyone commented how much bigger I was and stronger I was, and, beautiful, and discovered spray tan and things. So, I'm super proud of myself. I can't wait to get into my studies and learning. So, I did my discipline. I'm gonna take myself out to dinner, and I would like to start reading my book on how to DJ, because I would like to use my broadcasting skills to play wonderful, amazing music that I love, and I can't give away all. I can't even share all the music I love without playing it and being a DJ myself. It's always been a dream of mine. So, along with my other books, this table here is stacked now. Instead of my I Love Lucy and my cute comic books that were supposed to be in here, now I have all my favorite philosophy books. If I share them with you, I can show you even a couple. The Biggest Lie Ever Told, Marcus Aurelius Meditations, Attached, of course, God Man, the Word Made Flesh, relation of the mineral salts of the body to the signs of the zodiac, because all the zodiacs correlate to cell salts of the body. The Daily Laws by Robert Greene. Of course, actually, maybe I'll even read a daily law just because I didn't read it yet today. It's usually by my bedside. And The Devil's Pulpit, which is amazing. Analyzing the roots of the Bible. Taylor explores how pagan sun worship practices, Greek and Roman mythology, ancient Egyptian society, astrology, and astronomy all serve as direct undercurrents of Christianity with insightful prose. And he was a mayor in London, he worked in London. The mayor of London threw him in prison for teaching what he did. This is Reverend Robert Taylor that wrote this book, and the mayor threw him in prison. Is what the story was behind that, but we'll read more into that later. But the daily laws. While I'm practicing my disciplines, I am so proud of myself. Amy, I get so proud of myself. There's got to be so much dopamine when you're proud of yourself like this. March 5th, look wider and think further ahead. In any competitive environment in which there are winners or losers, the person who has the wider, more global perspective will inevitably prevail. The reason is simple. Such a person will be able to think beyond the moment and control the overall dynamic through careful strategizing. I so believe that. That's why I know I got to work my way up and I got work to do. I'm totally cool with that. The reason is simple. Such a person will be able to think beyond the moment and control the overall dynamic through careful strategizing. Most people are perpetually locked in the present. Their decisions are overly influenced by the most immediate event. They easily become emotional and ascribe greater significance to a problem than it should have in reality. Moving toward mastery with naturally I want to be fluid. Here we go. Let's try this again. Moving toward mastery will naturally bring you a more global outlook, but it is always wise to expedite the process by training yourself early on to continually enlarge your perspective. You can do so by always reminding yourself of all the overall purpose of the work you are presently engaged in and how this meshes with your long term goals. In dealing with any problem, you must train yourself to look at how it inevitably connects to a larger picture. If your work is not having the desired effect, you must look at it from the angles until you find the source of the problem. You must not merely observe the revivals in your field, but dissect and uncover your weaknesses. So it's not just about your strengths. And that's what I'm noticing this week. I love this book because it's so spot on. February is about the apprenticeship and signing and understanding and signing up for your apprenticeship or what your apprenticeship is. And my dance training, I'm so excited to get more dance training. So I got to find my place right now. If your work is not having the desired effect, ting, 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 ting. You must not merely observe the rivals in your field, but dissect and uncover their weaknesses. Your rivals. I'm thinking of myself or my biggest rival, your rivals, but dissect and uncover their weaknesses. Look wider and think further ahead must be your motto. Through such mental training, you will smooth the path to mastery while separating yourself even further from the competition. The person with the more global perspective wins. Expand your gaze. From Mastery 6, fuse the intuitive with the rational. Mastery. Look wider and think further ahead. That was for today. And tomorrow is going to be awesome. The creative process. I bet that one's really good from yesterday. See, this one I got to keep this by my head or by my bed. By my head. But okay, we're good to go. All right. Until next time, I'm getting too excited. I want to read it. And maybe I'll get back to you guys and read it tomorrow too. But peace and love. We made it to almost 8:00 and it's time for Frosty to go get dinner. So thank you for joining and we'll stay tuned for Mind Gym if I read about how to be a DJ later. Okay, see ya. And on this. And now I gotta